terminal operating system. That went into effect August 18th.
Okay.
Many people didn't know that went into effect. That's a good thing. That means that
before we do that, I just want to make sure that you understand what is M4, so people.
M4 is our operating system. So if you have an iPhone, you use an iOS operating system. If you have a Samsung or an LG phone, you're using Android operating system. APM terminals use Navis Express since I've been there, which is an older system that Navis is going to stop supporting. So we moved to N4. N4 is the same system that MAR Terminals implemented, PNCT, Global, etc. We were the last ones to go, and we just implemented it in August of this year. We had plans to implement it last year at the same time, around August, September, and we didn't because it was during peak season, and we realized that Zim was joining 2M, so we're going to get more volume. So if there was ever an issue, because switching to N4, sometimes the terminal can melt down.
It happened to 64. Well, if they did something like that, some changes like that caused them years ago to melt down.
Right. So we didn't want to melt down. We learned a lot. Being that we're a global container terminal entity, we have locations all throughout the world. We have a team that goes from terminal to terminal implementing N4. And part of the implementation is deciding on what day you're going to make that implementation. So we were ready to go last year, and then our terminal manager said, you know what, we're not doing it. He didn't feel confident, the team didn't feel confident. We delayed it for 1 year. It's the best thing we ever did, in my opinion, and again, this is my own opinion. We delayed it because when we did roll it out this year, we closed early that Monday, 2 hours early. We had to close because we couldn't print tickets.
So
Other than that,
well, you see, a lot of people face this thing. Why we bought it out, and that was a big issue. I remember that day when the 2 hours were like closed down and people didn't understand. So this is the things that you don't know. This is the thing that you don't understand. This is the thing that people don't basically have the opportunity to understand why they happen. And you know, I know a lot of my colleagues, drivers are upset the systems are like taking forever and we're paying the price. That was one of the persons that actually been fighting for years that we have to get some kind of a compensation for the drivers. They are spending time there. They don't have nothing to do with that. It's just, imagine you going to a situation where you have your house. Half of your house is in construction and the other half of your house is working with your family, your kids. You know, no matter how much you try to avoid the construction side, you're always going to have that touch,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what happens.
sure.
with
And,
everything.
and let's look at the supply chain in general, right? We get paid by the lift.
Exactly.
Longshoremen get paid by the hour. Trucking company gets paid by the move, and they pay the driver by the move, who's generally a contractor, right? Not many trucking companies. Subcontractor, exactly. Pardon me. So everybody's chasing a different goal. What we need to do is align these goals. We work very hard with our partners in the ILA, who do a tremendous job for us, giving us feedback. We ask them for feedback. I know they interact with your truckers all the time, but we have to get to a point where we're making sure that everything is fluid, and we want to make sure that there's minimal impact to you. These investments we made are going to help this. However, I know it's not fast. I would hope that the construction you see going on is a testament to our commitment. If you drive by the old chassis field, you'll see new top loaders, new empty handlers, new reach stackers that we purchased. You'll see.
And let me stop you there. You don't go to a supermarket down the street or a provider down the corner to buy those machines.
Right.
And I want you to show those big. My goal, listen, I'm not trying, and I want to make sure that a lot of people are going to be, oh, are you an ILA member or are you an APM member? Why are you supporting it?
APM Terminals respects the trucker as much as respect our steamship customers, as much as we respect the ILA. You're all stakeholders, as we are, in the Port of New York and New Jersey.
Definitely.
When we need new equipment, right, you don't go to a used car lot and buy an RTG. You don't go to a Carvana and purchase a top loader, right? You have to put these orders in, and there's lead times. Some machines take a year. Cranes might take 3 years. RTGs might take a year and a half. The advantage we have as APM, being all over the world, we needed RTGs when we found out that Zim was joining 2M. We were able to contact our sister terminal in Los Angeles. They put 8 RTGs on a barge, sailed them down the Pacific Ocean, through the Panama Canal, up the Caribbean Ocean, through the Atlantic Ocean to APM Elizabeth. It took 90 days, but we had 8 machines there.
90 days.
In 90 days.
8 machines. 90 days.
If we had to buy those machines, it would have took probably a year and a half to 2 years. So granted, the machines didn't come in perfect shape. Imagine you sitting on a barge for 90 days in the sun. We had to do some work to get them commissioned. So the machines arrived around November, early November, Halloween, and the first ones were put into place in February. So.
And that's exactly the things. You see, I want you to, like I say, my goal, and I want you guys, and forgive me for a second, I take a second out of the point.
Please.
The idea of this is to show you what's happening, because we're trying, and believe me, I tried many years to fight and try to make changes, but I realized that I didn't understand the industry. You have to understand what's happening to either give a comment, a positive comment, or to give something to a feedback so you can see something. We can't just fight without knowing what's happening.
Yeah.
We have to understand what's happening to see how can we put a fight. If you don't know how we're going to fight, we don't understand what is going on in the place. And this is why we're doing this meeting, and I hope that you guys understand. And I know the questions that you're asking, what about the treatment? What about the long lines inside waiting for the machines? And part of that is because of the frustration of having machine operators that can't communicate with drivers, that can't talk to other people. And just like you, when you sit in that line for 3, 4, or 5 hours, imagine when a crane operator is sitting in top trying to move, and 3 drivers are just trying to get ahead of each other and prevent that guy from going forward. There's a lot of frustration on each side, and this is something not because I want to protect the ILA, it's just because I'm talking to the people in the ILA, and I hope that soon, all these days, they come over here too, because we want to hear from their side. Sure. Because they're
a major part of what we couldn't do what we do without them.
Exactly.
And we appreciate the service they give us, and they're part of our team too, and it's very important that we include them.
And yes, don't get me wrong, I know we have it. I'm going to repeat myself sometimes. A lot of many people ask me, why are you protecting the workers, the lazy persons? Listen, every family has a bad apple. I'm not going to tell you, and we were talking about, if you have somebody that's being mistreating you, somebody that is being abusive, we have a system in place.
Absolutely.
APM, you see?
Absolutely. You contact our security team. Any truck driver can ask anybody on terminal for security. And a security guard will come to you. It's usually a roundsman who's like a foreman of the security guards or a supervisor. Anybody with the radio can ask you that. Another time, if you're ever asked to void out, please make sure you get your ticket signed. Anybody who has the authority to void you out will always sign their name. If somebody tells you to get out of here and they won't sign your ticket, we don't know who that is. It could be another truck driver. It could be somebody without authority. So always ask for a signed ticket. And at the end of the day, if you need to talk to somebody, you can always call us directly. My phone number is 908-558-6292. We have the main phone number, 908-558-6000, where you can talk to the desk and they'll send you to wherever you need. And also our Terminal Solutions Center, which is very helpful. So if you get a trouble ticket, you go to driver's assistance. They will help you. If it's something they can't help with, they forward you to Terminal Solutions. Terminal Solutions Center is our customer service group that's in Charlotte, and they're there to help if containers are unhired, but it's showing not unhired. If a C-Link is suspended, they can check the system and see why. And you can call them too at 866-855-8552. So there's a lot of ways you can get in touch with somebody.
But you see what you're saying, this is something that I want you to consider. See, this is the numbers that you can use. Because a lot of people say, how can we protect ourselves? So we need to fight, we need to punch. We don't need to punch.
We don't want any fighting at APM.
Exactly. We don't want anybody to get hurt. And this is why we're having this meeting, because we want you to understand that it is a management in place. It is a protocol that they already have in place, and it's a way for you to protect. But without programs like this, you will never know, because nobody will ever tell you, because nobody knew that this exists. Not even myself for many years. Okay, and this is the things that we're trying to bring to the table with this kind of meetings, and I hope that you guys understand. And I'm not saying that everybody in the ILA is bad. I'm just saying that sometimes we have bad days. I wake up in a bad day. You, I'm pretty sure, wake up sometimes in a bad day.
Yes.
It's a different day for everybody, every day.
So there are things now that are in place at APM to help all the truck drivers. All truck drivers have cell phones. Most truck drivers have smartphones where they can go on websites. You can go on to apmterminals.com, select location, Port Elizabeth, and if you scroll to the bottom, there's something called e-alerts. You can create an account with your name and the company you work for, and we'll send you messages via text or email. We send the daily roll closures like that now. If we're opening on a holiday, like we're gonna open Election Day, November 5th, we'll be open regular hours. We're gonna push that out. So you don't need to hear it from your customer or hear it from your dispatcher. You can sign up for those alerts yourself. And everybody has an email address. Those emails come direct when I send them. And you can go to our website. If you go to apmterminals.com, Port Elizabeth, you can see the news. On that news, it tells you what days we're open. We have a box for row closures. It tells you where the row is closed. And there's a box to put your container in, so you can see the position before you even get there.
And I want to ask you a question to somebody else. Why do they have row closures?
So that's a great question. The reason we have row closures, 99% of the time, it's for safety. 1% of the time, it's because we have to do construction and we have to paint the pad, make the lines and the numbers. When we're discharging a ship heavy into a stack, we try to keep the outside drivers out of there. If I have one crane in there, it's okay. You work with the top loader. But if I have to put two cranes in there where we have 4 or 6 top loaders, we can't keep it open. So we close the run so the vessel can discharge. And then we open the run the next day. And when we close the run, we extend the free time by 1 day on all the containers that were within free time.
So let me stop you right there real quick. I want to make sure you understand this. You understand the idea of the closure of the lines, and you can get it on his website that he mentioned just a couple seconds ago, is for you to understand what's going to happen the next day. This don't happen at 6 o'clock in the morning when you're coming in. They plan this in advance.
We send the row closures out by noon the day before. Like tomorrow, there's no row closures at all. The website was updated at 11 o'clock this morning saying there's no row closures.
You see? And this is what we're trying to do sometimes with Facebook page, and a lot of people say, oh, why you put some information from 8 p.m.? What about seeing like everybody has their own information, but we try to prioritize which information is more needed at the moment. That's why we don't put too much information, that we don't want to, give you too much things that you can't even read. I read just something that we can understand. But this is the things, guys, and I know that you probably on Facebook, we're going to give you opportunity. We have a nice lady over here working with us tonight. Anna is her name. She's going to be helping us with the questions that she's writing down right now as we speak. So if you have any questions, you want to have any comments, if you have positive comments, she's going to be doing some things over here. But, this is something that never has been done. So hopefully this continues to happen more often. But here's something that's really interesting. What about the future? What about the future? What is the future? I hear a lot about talking about maybe the implementation of appointment systems.
Yes, that's great. So we are looking to implement an appointment system. I can tell you right now, when we do have the appointment system, the way we're going to implement it is going to be rather loose. We're first going to ask you, what day are you coming for your container? So we just want to know what day you're coming. We're not going to be concerned if you're coming at 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 1 p.m. We just want to know what day. Right now, that information is super valuable to us. I close to the pier tonight at 6 p.m., for example. I don't know what imports are going out the gate tomorrow. But if you work for a trucking company with 50 drivers, which I think, if I'm wrong, is that big?
It's decent.
Decent, right? Some trucking companies have 100.
100 to, it's more companies are the ones that run more the port, like 30, 20, 50.
Okay. So say you have 30 drivers coming at 8 p.m. tomorrow. If we knew those 30 boxes, at night, we can park the machines right where your boxes are. So if you come first thing in the morning, those machines are ready to go. Because 8 p.m. is not first come, first serve. We're an RTG operation. The person gets the box when the machine is closest to them. It's not like MAR or PNCT where you wait in line and they bring you the box. We dig the box out for you. So I encourage all these large trucking companies, if you're going to come for a lot of containers, let us know the day before. And at least we can stage machinery, or we can tell your dispatcher, don't come for these boxes. It's going to be very busy. Come later. We can collaborate. Another thing I tell dispatchers, when you look up your container location on import availability on our website, you get the location. And I know you know the locations. If you have a location G60742E4 or G60722C4, 4 means the container's on the top height. Dispatch those first thing in the morning. Our machines don't have to dig. If our machine does, everybody likes to get 4 top, 3 top. If the machines don't have to dig, it's faster for you. Then you come back. If the top trucking companies did that every morning, it would help so much for...
But I'm pretty sure that a lot of dispatchers and a lot of trucking companies, more trucking companies at least, don't have so many information about how this works.
They have it. They don't know what to do with it. That's on the website.
Okay.
Another thing that I think, which is an issue, not by fault of any trucking company, right? I've noticed a lot of trucking companies managers, owners, bosses never drove a truck in their life. Some have, some haven't. I think it's very important that the trucking company staff, not the drivers, come to the terminals to have these meetings so they can answer the questions for their subcontractors. Because they don't know what you see every day. It's funny, we had a meeting a couple weeks ago with a steamship line, and they brought some truck drivers in because it was a new customer and they wanted to learn the process. The trucking company personnel didn't know how to get to the terminal. The drivers know, the drivers they hire know, but they don't know.
Yeah.
So now that they know, they see the traffic. They see how many traffic lights were added since we added some warehouses on North Avenue, right? They see how the roads changed, how the turnpike is.
The traffic of the new malls that they put in place.
The mall or the warehouses, they never knew that. So when you're calling your dispatcher and say, I can't get to the port, it's busy, it's backed up. They, oh no, it's not, come on, just go. But they don't, now that they see it, so we encourage all trucking company personnel, non-drivers, to come to the terminal. Reach out to me, Giovanni, and say, I would like to bring my team. We'll give you a tour. We'll show you what's going on. We'll show you what your drivers deal with every day. And it's all part of collaboration. APM Terminals has nothing to hide. When our gate is busy, you see it on the camera. If it was something we wanted to hide, I wouldn't put it on our website.
No, in matter of fact, that's something that we use every day. And you know that more than anybody. You put my information in there and say, no, I'm not doing it any different.
Right.
But here's the situation, guys. You again, and being repeating myself because I know it's a lot of people that are going to be tomorrow and the day after tomorrow when you start watching this. Why they might talk about the abuses? The abuses are being talked about. The abuses can be stopped if you follow the protocol. We have a protocol in place. We have, like he said, you can call a security. You don't have to.
I don't like to use the word abuse.
Exactly.
But if you're being mistreated,
let's go.
you need to contact security and APM team management. So in our security department, we have management. There's a director, there's managers, and there's assistant managers who oversee our security guards. Our security guards also have a foreman, if you will. It's called a roundsman. And you all know a roundsman. You'll see their faces. We will definitely address any issue that you have, but we ask that you report it. You will not be treated differently. I know a lot of people are afraid to complain because they think they're not going to get their box. That is not true. Everybody gets their box. Nobody.
And I know. Reefer department. Talk about the reefer department. Somebody told me talk about the reefer department. Yes, we know the reefer department is a problem, and I think you're addressing that problem.
Yeah.
Too.
So we speak with the mechanics too, because the mechanics also might have complaints about drivers and how they work. So what we're doing is we're listening to the truckers, we're listening to the mechanics. Our reefer management, our maintenance team is going to compile the findings, and they're going to address it the proper way with the foreman, with the shop stewards, to come see how we can work better together. Now there's a lot of things, right? You have trucks leaving with no genset. Truck needs a genset. There's a lot of new things happening. We're going to look to probably add some lanes maybe one day in reefer just to help the fluidity. Unplugs and plugs. Who does the plugging? Who does the unplugging? These are all things we talk about all the time.
And let me tell you something. If you have any ideas, make sure to tell us too, because your ideas, you sitting in there, you see sometimes things that we don't see, or he don't see, or the people in management don't see it, and you can have a great idea that can make these changes happen faster and better for everybody.
I'll tell you the truth. That side gate on Tripoli Street, that idea came from a trucker, one of the CES truckers. The trucker said, if I'm leaving with my bare chassis, why do I got to go in the gate? You're 100% right. You can leave out the side gate. Now it's with DCLI or track chassis.
Okay, so here's the question of the $1 million. Why can we go out to the side gate with our own chassis? And I want you to ask it. I have to answer.
No, that's a very valid question. Sometimes I question that as well, but that's an agreement we have. Because the chassis are now off-site and they're being maintained by the ILA at our chassis depots. They're being inspected at the depots, so we do not see a need for an inspection again. If they're own chassis, we need to verify that it's a trucker's own chassis. So they're being put through the main gate.
See, they just want to make sure that you're not taking any equipment that belongs to APM. It's not that they're trying to make miserable. It's just...
That's another good point. There's a few hundred chassis that are, they might say track or DCLI, but they should say terminal use only. We have to make sure that those chassis aren't getting out as well, because we own those chassis. So it's all checks and balances, and we're always looking to improve. We're open to your suggestions,
And like he said, I know the congestion, I know the funnel that is created at the exit, and we went through that. He mentioned before I was in his office, I was brought to his team and showed me the new lines and everything that they've been doing lately, and I love it. I see the future. Sometimes you have to see the future, but in order to see the future, you have to just wait. You have to wait. That's what it's called future. Once we have that, I remember back in 1996, we used to go and lunch, okay, at 11 o'clock, and we come back at 1 o'clock.
Because we broke for lunch, the whole terminal.
The whole terminal we broke for lunch, okay? So don't think it's bad. I mean, like he said, it's construction happening, it's a lot of things they're going through. And I'm not trying to defend APM terminal in any way. I'm just trying to show you that sometimes the reason that they have is because of all this construction that's happening at the same time that they're trying to see the, and it's one of the biggest terminals, if I'm not mistaken right now. APM is one of the biggest terminals in the area. So imagine trying to have a construction, trying to manage at the same time the volume of containers that come in and the volume of containers got to go out with the volume of traffic that come at once, because like you say, we don't have any way to.
Well, let's look at the past couple weeks, right? About 2 weeks ago, it was very hard to get into APM terminals. The delays on the street, not in the terminal, getting to the terminal, the lines were backed up. A major steamship line was shut out for empty returns everywhere in the port but APM terminals. We took every single empty for that steamship line. So if the import came out of 64, if it came out of PNCT, if it came out of Global, it came out of Holland Hook, GCT New York, the empty had to come back to APM. So what does that do? It forces all the first move of the day and your empty return to APM. Now, if you got an appointment at Global, or if you have an appointment at a warehouse for an import, you're going to come early in the morning. You and 2,000 other people did the same thing. So now our gate, which is old and we know that we're working to fix, has more concentrated volume all at one time. But if you came on that day at 2 p.m., you would have got in and out. We know the truckers have challenges. We know that you have to be at a warehouse at a certain time, that you have to come early in the morning. And we work very closely with the Port Authority. They try to stop the trucks from queuing and blocking the roads. Because if you queue before we open, our employees can't get to work. If my employees can't get to work, we can't get in the gate console, we can't get in the RTG, we can't service you. So it has to be a collaboration.
And this is the part that you see, this is the logistics that don't have nothing to do with us. But if you park your truck in front of the main gate where they come in, we don't get service and the line won't move. Like he said, that's what the queue is all about.
My question is, I know some people have to come first thing in the morning. But if you see it's busy, avoid it. Why wouldn't you avoid it? Or if you don't have to wake up 3 o'clock in the morning.
And I have to stop you there. I want to avoid it.
Right.
He want to avoid it.
Right.
A lot of the truck drivers want to avoid it. The problem is, this is the situation where the companies, and this is for you guys, the own companies and dispatches, we don't want to avoid it because we don't want to go work, because I know that the last box, the last day is per day, we're going to pay money. But if we can avoid those areas for a couple hours,
right,
it will actually hold the congestion from being worse. And I've been always, if you see my comments, say avoid the area if you can. If you can, I'm not saying that you have. You have to be there before 3 o'clock. There's nothing you can do. But
well, here's my thing.
If you can,
if you have to return the empty first thing in the morning because you got to pick up a load and be in Pennsylvania by noon, I understand. You have no choice. But if you're just doing a move and you're bringing it back to a yard, a drop and pick, where you can come at 2 p.m. instead of 7 a.m., I encourage you to do that, especially when we're busy. Don't sit in those lines. Also, weekly, we're sending out a notice to our stakeholders what the turn times were for last week. We're sending what vessel schedule is, what day the ships are working, and we're also sending a bit of a forecast on what we expect the gates to look like. Low, moderate, or busy. And we're sending that out a week in advance. So I sent one out yesterday, and it shows the gate forecast for the next week. I would love to add you to that email so you can give it to your members.
Oh yeah, definitely. We try to do that every day.
So you can see what if APM Terminals is telling you Friday is going to be a busy day. Now, how do we know Friday is going to be a busy day? This steamship line is shut out for empties everywhere but us. These 2 ships are late. We know we're going to be busy when there's a lot of late ships, right? Everybody knows that. So we're going to tell you Friday's going to be busy. So you can say that, and if your dispatcher tells you got to go to APM on Friday, you can say, can I go Monday if there's no per diem? Because Friday's going to be busy. I want to avoid it. These are things that we're communicating to give you the tools.
And I understand, because I being inside, I was blessed to be in every single aspect of the industry. Little by little, I spend time in each side, so I learn to do. I understand as a owner of a company, as a dispatch, some of the customers require you, and this is for the customers too, because we want to make sure we address everybody. They require you that the box will be picked up like 3 or 4 days in advance. Okay, that's something the customers, because they feel afraid that they're going to be paying the merge, they don't want to have the customer miss the appointment that they have. But you have to understand, the more that we clog that terminal in one day, the more that we aggravate everybody. Drivers, machine operators, the terminal itself. So this is why it's so important to have a communication, because that way we can understand what's happening. And like he said, if you can avoid the area, avoid it. Why you want to congest the area when you don't have no necessity? Why you want to send 3 empty containers that you don't have the return that day? Why you want to send your drivers to get aggravated, to congest the terminal more than what already is? And at the end, they're going to come out only with the chassis. They have to be returned. They can't return because they come already too late to go to chassis depot. So it makes, sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good point you bring. And, there's a lot of things out there that can help you work better. I am by no means sitting here and telling everybody out there that we're perfect. We know we're not. But I can assure you that we're doing everything possible. And not even just to mention the financial investments. It's the commitment to the community. The fact that I know you now, when I didn't for all these years.
It wasn't easy.
People used to text message me your posts and stuff, and there's other people around like on Instagram and things of that nature, and everybody texts it to me. I don't get offended. It takes a lot to offend me. I don't take it personal, but I work with a lot of passion, and I think that goes for a lot of people at APM. We really care about what we do, and sometimes people cannot see the forest through the trees. My grandfather used to tell me that. You have to look at the big picture and see what the end game is. The $200 million investment is substantial. You're seeing that now. You see the additional top loaders that we have, right? We added 13 new top loaders. Some of those top loaders are $500,000. We added 6 new empty handlers. That's why in the empty field now, I was the yard manager back in 2013. I used to have 5 empty handlers. Now I think they're up to 7 working the yard. We got more lines, we put more equipment to service. We used to have 32 RTGs, now there's 40. So there's a lot of new things happening out there. It is not quick, and I understand that, and we appreciate your patience with that, but it is going to get better. The new gate is going to make the terminal flow better. Right now, we handle roughly 900,000 vessel lifts a year. Our gate, that's the max it can handle. When the new gate is built, we're going to be able to handle about 1.7 million lifts. So we're going to almost double the capacity of our new gate, of our throughput. That's huge. And you want to break it down to a smaller level? If you're in roadability now as a truck driver, you want to go to lane 30, right? Everybody wants to go to lane 30. There's only 8 lanes to get out. Imagine when there's going to be 16 lanes to get out. You're not going to have to make that turn and to get outbound. You can go straight out. It's going to help the fluidity. So we're going to double the outbound lanes. We're going to almost more than double the inbound lanes, right? Because right now you have 10, not including the empty gate. You have 10 lanes. We're going to go up to 24 inbound lanes. These are all things that are going to help you. And we needed to make sure we have the right equipment in the yard to service you. And you can see it now. We're servicing trucks faster in the yard. Our outbound gate sometimes cannot handle it as fluidly as we would like it to. And again, some days we're great, some days we're bad. I can assure you we're not doing anything different. We don't sit in a meeting every morning at 8 p.m. and say, hey, let's slow everything down for the truckers today. We hit this button. It doesn't work like that. We do everything the same way every day, and we try to do better each day. And that's something we cannot do without your help, without the ILA's help, without the Port Authority's help. I'm meeting next week with the Port Authority. We're going to talk about the traffic around APM terminals. Everybody knows if you come from Corbin Street, from our terminals, and you have to make a left onto Tripoli Street, how long is that light? Green. I think it's 11 seconds.
If you're lucky.
Okay. If there's 2 trucks there, they're lucky to both make it. So what does everybody do? They illegally turn. They go to Bay Avenue and make an illegal U-turn.
It's a lot of problems.
So we're addressing that. The Port Authority is very active with us. We meet with them constantly. Every day I'm texting with the Port Authority. Our gates are bad. Our gates are going to be quiet. When can we have a meeting? And this is stuff we're doing. And you're not gonna know if we don't tell you that.
But you see, this is the things that many people are going to say, but that doesn't change the fact that I'm in the line and waiting. Yes, we understand that. I understand that. Okay? I was blessed to be a member of the poor community for more than 20 years, like I mentioned before. And I know the changes they've been going through. I know the pain that we're going through every day. The changes haven't been easy for ourselves. And this is why I always say to the community of the Port Authority, the steamship lines, all we want is recognize, the recognition that the independent drivers is one of the biggest force the Port have. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. That's something we're going to be talking in a couple of weeks from now about what's happening with us. But I hope that people understand the importance of the independent drivers in this community. We are fighters. We wake up every morning, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning to be the first one in the terminal. Sometimes we're driving around the terminal, playing with the police because he will come and look at you. And you know by the look of the police that you have to keep going, not even think about queuing in there.
But if you don't have to wake up at 2 in the morning, I just ask that you don't.
No, you
Because
know,
this might not be worth
yeah,
it for
but this is why people it is. This is the things that we don't know. This is the things that because I didn't have the pleasure. I wish I would have somebody tell me what's happening years ago. I mean, believe it or not, we have different organizations. I don't want to mention because they don't need to be mentioned. We're not trying to attack them, but it was some news were given to handle to the drivers, but those news never got to the drivers, and that's what created this massive hate between us workers, independent drivers, and sometimes union drivers, because we believe that sometimes, the guys are trying to work like human beings and we are only doing one move, so we just want to get out. They got to deal with 10,000 moves a day sometimes. I'm not saying the 10,000 moves, but they have to deal with a lot of moves.
We do about 4,800 a day at our gate.
Exactly, 4,800 moves. Imagine yourself sitting in one of those planes dealing with 4,800 moves a day. It's not that easy.
Well, no, but you want to really know the truth. If we deliver 2,000 imports a day, maybe we have 22 machines doing that. It's a lot of work. 100 boxes, including digging, that's a lot of moves per machine. These are things that you have to remember. Climbing in that machine is not easy. Sitting in that machine for how many hours until your partner relieves you is not easy. These are all things that we have to remember. And I think what's the most important thing, to be honest with you, we all have one goal. We want to provide for our families, but ultimately we want to do it safely and efficiently.
And this is one of the things that I've been telling you. I've been talking to the Port Authority, I talked to you. I think we need more education for the new drivers. The old generation is nothing we can do. They already know the system. But if we can create some kind of specific training, everything is training. The police academy has training, special training. Every job, I went to the airport, they have trainings for all kinds of jobs, security, maintenance, they have training. But the port drivers, the ones that drive these big machines that can crush anybody in 5 seconds, especially inside those terminals, we don't have those trainings. And that's the part that I don't, after many years of doing this, I disagree with that. That needs to stop and that needs to be changed. And hopefully the Port Authority is doing something, is trying to create more videos and all that stuff. But in the long run, I would like to see we can create something where training facilities for drivers can go at least for some, if they want to, or if they forced to, will be great, because that way they understand. Because the Argentine, you go there, you look like a monkey, like the new drivers like sitting there like they play in baseball or something, giving codes.
You don't have to do that anymore, right? You have the RFID.
Exactly. No, I want to tell them that. You don't know these things. A lot of the drivers say, what's the RDT? That's the little box, white box in your truck. And now how that works?
The RFID tags on your mirror, that's something the Port Authority mandates you have.
Mm-hmm.
So our machines are outfitted with RFID readers. When the machine pulls over you, it tells the operator which box
you see
to give you. Sometimes it doesn't work, and he'll beep the horn if it doesn't work. But it works, and we deliver the box. So.
Wait a minute. This is something that I didn't know for months. Now, when I met with you, you told me I learned that. But a lot of drivers, do you know that? No.
So what's going to happen is it's going to be more, once the new gate is running and the OCR is running and everything is flowing properly with the information, all of that is going to be pushed out to the community. This is how this works. Because right now we're testing, right? We have a lot of equipment testing with the system. If you look at our yard tractors, Our truck drivers, the ILA drivers in the port, they have a screen that tells them where to bring boxes. We're going to bring that same technology for you guys. When you come to the port, we can just drive over your tag and see what move you're doing. I can go on my computer right now, and if you're C-Link 180, I can type that in and I can see where your truck is in my yard. I can see what you're doing. These are all things we never had before. We're in the early stages, but the technology is moving, ahead to assist the ILA men and women that are working, getting the job done every day. The technology is helping them, and it's helping the customers.
So you see, all this is happening. So I hope that you guys understand, all these changes. Again, I have to repeat myself. I'm not trying to protect the APM terminal.
It's not protection. This is communication, right? This is what it's all about.
This is all we need. This is what we're trying to create these programs. You asked me, do you did anything like this with other terminals? Yes, we're going to do. We're inviting you, the other terminals, to come in and let us know how the technology is taking their places. A lot of people say the 64s or Mart terminal is one of the greatest terminals, but they don't understand the process that they went through. I was there when the process was there. It was a nightmare too. But the process was very painful for months, years, into the problem, into the point where they are right now. And hopefully,
I think Mart Terminals runs a great terminal. PNCT, Global. I mean, everybody's doing their part, and I'll be very honest with you. We talk to each other all the time.
Exactly.
Thanks to the Port Authority and their efforts on the Council on Port Performance, we collaborate now. Do you know every time the weather forecast said there's snow, there's a conference call with about 300 people talking about what are we doing tomorrow. APM says we're going to close. MAR says we're going to close. PNCT says, well, we wanted to open. Global says they're going to close. Everybody says, then we should all close. Because why are we going to make you get on the street and fight with the snow and risk your safety just to get a container? We're collaborating. If APM and MAR is closed, PNCT will close. If PNCT and MAR opens, APMT will open. We're working together because the port is affected as a whole. We're not operating as a silo anymore.
Somebody asked me, and this is a question that I know, but I want to ask you, is why they don't take loads on Saturdays? Why is it so hard to take a load?
Why don't we take loads on Saturdays?
Yes.
That's a great question. Our participation in Saturday is minimal, as you know. To open up for loads, we need to bring more people to work. We need to use more systems. We need to extend cutoffs. A lot of different factors. Some of the ships you're working Monday or Sunday, they cut off Friday. I can't receive those loads on Saturday because the ship's already stowed. There's a lot of restrictions to that. If there's a booking that's super hot, the steamship lines might ask us to take in some loads. We can work with them. We just don't open for loads because it's just not participated enough. And we know we're not going to receive enough. So we rather focus on the machinery and the imports and the empties.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we try to open on Saturdays when we think we're going to need it. We look at the week. We look how late ships are or if ships are off schedule. We look if there's holidays coming. So say, for example, one year Christmas was Monday, Tuesday, right? Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. We opened that Saturday because we knew we were going to lose 2 days next week. These are all things we do through feedback from you, through feedback from customers, through feedback from steamship lines. We're open to everything. APM tried to open we stayed open till 7 p.m. for a few months last year.
And that's another question. Why can't we keep some of the gates open to at least 6 p.m.?
We look at that every day. It costs us millions of dollars to stay open a year later. And if we don't get the participation, we're not going to stay open.
But when you say you don't get the participation, how can we help you get the participation?
Come to the terminal in the evening if we give you extra hours.
But you see, this is something that a lot of drivers say, and I'm one of those drivers. I've been spending 17 hours working all week, and now you want me to do a move in the morning and I spend 6 hours in there, and then you want me to go and spend another 6 hours.
Or you run out of hours.
Run out of hours, which is a problem that a lot of people are facing right now.
So with ELDs,
didn't help.
We looked at the extended gate hours, and we know there's a challenge. Truckers want to come back, but they don't have the hours to come back. If you're coming out of Pennsylvania and you're trying to make it back, and you're going to run out of hours, you know that if I only have 1 more hour left, and I'm on Route 78, 20 minutes from the terminal, I might not be able to get in, return the empty, and pick up my load. So you're not going to come.
Well, that's technology. Sometimes I don't agree with so many technology things that are being forced to use in our industry, but it is what it is, and to somebody else does some changes, we have to start dealing with that. The idea is, guys, if you have any kind of questions, if you have any kind of suggestions. They telling you right here, Mr. Giovanni Antonucci is telling you right here, you have the ability to reach her through their website. You have their phone. He just give you the phone number. We're gonna post it again as we finish this meeting.
If you go to our website and you click contact us, it gives you everybody at the terminal's phone number to their desk. I encourage you register for those e-alerts. You're gonna get every alert that our steamship customers get. The customers who pay us get the same alerts. You're gonna get that same treatment. You're gonna have the information at your fingertips. I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to talk to each other. I encourage you to say that, hey, I'm in 607 today, it's real busy. And when you get a DO and you know that online, you check your box and you see, oh, it's 607, let me call my buddy John. John, 607's bad? Yeah, don't come here. Okay, I'll call the dispatcher. Hey, give me another box. These are things you can do. We provide this information to you. I don't know if you use CB still in the trucks or...
Unfortunately, the new generation doesn't know how important those CVs used to be back in the days. I use it left and right, like every single day, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't easy. And letting the information go, we have now Facebook, different groups, so they have been created now. Text messaging. I know that you say, why do we have different groups? Well, I never intended to create this page to get any harm to anybody, any organization, or fight with anybody. What we were intending to do with the creation of this page was to give a voice to the drivers, to see the car issues that we face daily in the roads. And a lot of drivers got upset with me because I didn't allow them to post pictures or to comment in a bad way against another worker. That's not the point of this page. The point of this page was to give you information that you can use for your own benefit, to give us a voice to speak out the problems that we face, and which you see a lot of times. Sure. That's how the Port Authority use some of the data that they see through Facebook. They find out different patterns to do to move the congestion away. Well, we're gonna know. That's something that I learned with the Port Authority. It helped in some way. And without me planning this thing, it becomes a way to create these situations where we can actually now meet with representatives of the different organizations that have something to do with the poor community, and give us these kind of trainings. You probably won't get it because you're going to be driving a truck when he's in the terminal and you can't come out and see you because he's busy. So this is the situation that we're trying to create. This is what this page we've been working really hard for years to create, and it's happening. And you have to now take advantage of the knowledge that you're getting right here to understand and try to communicate to your different drivers that haven't seen the show for whatever reason, or they don't want to see the show because they don't have Facebook. We're going to put it in YouTube, in our webpage, PortDriverAssociation.com. You can see it there. You don't have Facebook. And we're trying to do this so you can learn what I know. And a lot of people say, well, when you went to the meeting with those people, they give you money and that's why you don't complain no more. No, I don't complain because I learned the system. And I learned that the system is in construction. And I learned what the loopholes are in the system. And I'm being educated by having the opportunity to meet with people like Mr. Giovanni. They have to take the time to sit around with me and take me to the process of what they're doing.
I mean, I think we weren't even kidding that day. Our chief operating officer, Justin Weir, sat with you too.
Yeah.
So it was no yard managers or marine managers. You sat with our COO. He's the number 2 guy at the terminal. And Justin knows I'm here, and Justin actually is very happy to be in communication with you. And I think moving forward, these are all things we need to do together. You talk about education. We have a STEP class every Friday at 8 p.m. at 9 a.m. And everybody thinks that's just for punishment. You get banned, you have a safety violation, you have to go to the STEP class. Yes, you do have to go to the STEP class, because that's our way of assuring ourselves that you know how to operate safely at the terminal. But what you also don't know is, if you're a new driver, come to that class. You're more than welcome. We're going to show you videos of what goes wrong. We're going to show you videos of what goes right, and we're going to open the dialogue to you. That is another outlet for you to talk to security and safety and say, hey, you guys say that I blew the stop sign, but the stop sign on the ground is gone. There's not painted.
We don't see it.
That's what we need to know, and we need to paint that. You said that I drove through the stack, and I'm not supposed to do that, but there was an open grate, and I wouldn't want to damage my truck, so I had to go around. These are all things we need to know, and that's the forum for that. Everybody is welcome for that step class, and it's not punishment; it's education.
And you and we have this meeting that day, and I told you that we wish that we can have those safety meetings and all those trainings available at any time for the.
I can come here and do it. I can
I
have
know.
my safety and security team provide the training here. If you're a trucking company owner, we can come to your office and give you the same thing. If you have a new driver, you ride with another driver to learn. He can come. He can come to that after the terminal. After they do the move, you want to pop in at 9 o'clock. He can drive his own car to the terminal, park in a visitor spot. He can sit through that class. There's a lot of things there that will really help you, and that is a very good forum for you to express your concerns.
And you see, guys, so all these things, you thought that nothing was happening, that nothing is there to help the drivers, that everything is against the drivers. But it's unfortunately not the case. We have a lot of things that we don't know. It's just because you don't know that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. You just don't know.
Another question I was asked by a trucker, why do you close the empty field when it's windy? That terminal didn't close the empty field. We closed our empty field because, as you can see in our videos, these containers can blow over. If you go to apmterminals.com, select Port Elizabeth Practical Information, scroll down to Driver Information, it has our gate cameras, it has how to pick up an import, how to bring in an export, and it also has a video that shows safety issues. It shows accidents, it shows containers getting blown over by the wind, it shows many things that can happen to you there. And that video is taken very seriously. That's why we share it. A lot of people ask me, why do you guys have that video online that shows containers getting knocked over or accidents? Because that's what really happens. We're not hiding that. Most companies, I don't even care if it's a terminal. Any company
We'll try to hide
tries to hide their accidents. We're showing you that this can happen here. We don't want it to happen anymore. And that's why we need your help for safety. We have the support from the ILA. We have the support from our owners, from our management staff. We need your support for safety as well. And we'll show you videos where our staff was wrong. We'll show you videos where drivers were wrong. And we'll show you videos where Mother Nature caused the problem.
Believe me, I know. I've been in that class. If you want to see some of that classes in the line, we also have. You invited me to go to that class, which I did. I went to that class. We taped it live. It's in there in our page, so you can watch it in there. And it has some old information, some videos. We didn't put it because it have some content that we couldn't show in live Facebook. But you can go in their class at 9 o'clock if you have the time, if you want to. Again, he's saying it, I'm not saying it. That's why the information that we need to get needs to get out there for you guys. And Anita, I want to ask you, do we have any questions? I know that you've been moving around there, and I know that you're sitting in there thinking, well, I'm going to give you time to ask those questions. So I'm going to give you the opportunity now.
Yes. Actually, Mr. Sanchez asked wouldn't it be easier to get out the chassis exit as opposed to the bare chassis, which it takes almost 2 hours?
It would be easy to have all bare chassis leave out of the side gate. I think, yes, depending on how many there is, that's only one lane, so that can get congested too. But right now, we're doing just the IEP chassis. So this is something we're constantly reviewing, but I do understand your concern, yes. At one time, nobody had their own chassis.
Nope.
Now you're seeing that happen more, so we're taking that into account, and we're going to review this process just like we review gate hours all the time. We have a strategy and planning team that's constantly looking at that.
Okay. Mr. Bajadaris asks, why do the outside speakers take a long time to give the TIR, which as a result, it forms long lines to exit?
So I think I'm understanding this right. Outbound kiosk
Yes.
at the lanes is taking a long time to print a ticket.
Yes, I guess that's what he's trying to say. When you go in the lines, sometimes the person will help you, and then suddenly the machines will fall.
So everybody thinks that this lady works at lane 30, this guy works at lane 26. It's not like that. Our checkers have a console. Anytime a truck is in an outbound lane, it blinks, and they just hit next button, and they help that driver. Sometimes the checker's helping a driver, and if the container doesn't come up, or the camera, they can't see the container or the chassis, it's taking time. So they have to type it. With our old gate that we have now, our checkers see when you pull up to the speaker, when you put your C-Link in, or your RFID tag tells them what your outbound number is, they're looking at your container. Now, if they can't read the number on the left, they got to look on the top. They type the number in, and then they're pressing print, and then sometimes it thinks longer than another, and the ticket comes out. Sometimes drivers pull up, they don't even push the button, and they're sitting there. We don't know that you're there. With the new gate, all of that's going to be changed. It's going to be more based on the RFID tag and the OCR. So right now, before you go to Roadability, they force you through those 3 garages at the bottom of 421, 321. When you go through that shed, that is going to be the future RFID shed. That is going to pre-populate the gate screen for the checker. When you come through Roadability and get to the outbound gate lane, you're just going to be able to drive right through because the checker is just going to verify that the information matches. If it doesn't match, because the OCR didn't read properly, then they're going to type the container number in. But as long as it's reading properly, it's going to be similar to MAR and PNCT. It's no different than MAR and PNCT.
And when I went there, I remember you told me sometimes the numbers don't show in the back, and that's something that we were
That happens too, right? Sometimes container numbers don't show. I mean,
no, I'm talking about the chassis, the owner operator.
Oh, yeah.
You got to understand, a lot of people have their own chassis now.
we don't record on chassis numbers.
We don't record the chassis, but in the back they have their own numbers. They be covering the letters and all the stuff, and that creates a problem. So you make sure that you put your company name in there or something.
Yeah. Oh, for when we open OCR. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to open OCR based on the standard chassis numbering format. If you want your chassis number, it's going to have to be able for us to read, right? Like DCLI and Metro, things of that nature. So that's another thing. Sometimes people just spray paint a number 3 because they paint it all black.
So
We're not going to be able to read that, but the OCR and the new gate is going to help our checkers process you faster. Currently, the checkers don't have the best tools of the trade to do their job. At MAR, PNCT, Global, they have this technology. All we're doing is getting up to speed. We're not going to do anything different than those terminals.
And I think we have one more last question. How many
There's-
questions?
You can ask me. That's
Okay.
fine.
What's the other question? then?
Yes. Mr. Cannon asked, how come they don't add more machines per location?
We actually did add more machines per location. We added 8 machines right before spring this past year. We changed the yard around a lot. Exports and imports are constantly being shifted as to where we put them, but we did add 8 machines. So you figure we break down our yard in 3 sections. You have the racks, like 225, 421. Then you have the old side, 305, 405, 205. And then you have the new side, 607, 707, 807. We have 8 more machines, which essentially means there's 2 machines extra in every pad. This goes back to my statement where if we had all the trucking companies tell us what they're coming for the next day, we can start more machines in these areas. And I don't even ask for a lot. If the top 5 truckers can just send us an email every day what they're coming for tomorrow, their drivers are going to experience a better turn
You
time.
hear that? For all those big companies that have more than 50 trucks, you have their power in your hands. If you need help, he's willing to help you.
And I'll be very public. There's trucking companies that send us a list every single day. We don't have to respond. We know that, hey, trucking company A, they're picking up 40 containers. 25 of them are in 306. So we're going to put 2 machines in 306 because we know
It's 25 containers.
it's going to be 25 containers.
So if you have more than 10 containers, that information can help you put more machines in there.
But we did get 8 more RTGs and we did purchase 13 more top loaders, and we're going to continue getting more machinery.
Remember, they don't come from down the street. They take 90 days to come from, California.
Well, that's because we had them in
We had
California. If we don't have them, we got to buy them, which can take a year, year and a half.
Year and a half for one machine. One more question?
Yes. Mr. Peisch asked, if the terminal has no power in cranes, why call bigger ships?
Well, I think that the answer is they do have the power. What happened is the congestion due to the lack of communication in the companies and management, and that has created a confusion. That
So
they
let me
don't have
understand that
machines.
question, though. Excuse me. If they don't have the power in cranes, does he mean the amount of cranes?
Yes, because what happened is I'm going to
Yard cranes, not
Yeah,
ship cranes.
yeah.
So here's the answer to that. What we're noticing is the ships are getting bigger, but there's not as many ships as there used to be. We used to work a lot of little ships. Some of the services are going away. So if you used to have 2 services on 5,000, 6,000 TEU vessels, they might be combined into one 10,000 TEU vessel. So right now at APM terminals, we don't have as many ships as we might have had 6 years ago, but we have bigger ships that are bringing more volume at once. So instead of getting 3,000 imports in 3 days like I used to, I might take 3,000 imports off in a day now. So we're seeing bigger ships, but less of them. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
So more volume, but less ships because they're bigger. They're carrying more at once to us.
So that give you 3 days that you have before, now it comes in 1 day, and that
Right.
creates a congestion when you come in. Remember what we're trying to tell you. It's not that they don't want to have machines, it's that you can't just buy machines.
So the Port Authority raised the bridge to allow the bigger ships to come in. APM Terminals bought 4 cranes for over $70 million to handle those ships. APM Terminals invested $39 million in a new gate to handle those volumes to move you out faster. Right now, you're waiting at outbound is because our gate cannot handle that. Not the amount of moves, it can't handle the velocity, the concentration of moves. Our gate might be able to handle 200 moves an hour, but if there's 200 people waiting, that's the problem. So that's why we're building the new gate. So you don't have to sit in your truck waiting. I know how terrible it must be when you get your box in 10 minutes and then you're waiting in Roadability to get out. We understand that. And the solution is doubling the amount of outbound lanes. That is in the process. So that's why you're driving through that OCR shed by 321. We're getting ready to turn the switch. And as a matter of fact, we've been using the OCR even before we use the new gate for outbound. We're using that to help the checkers process faster. Again, we're not always providing the ILA with the best tools right away. So we need to work with them and ask them what they need. Because, you know, they're going to get blamed. Oh, that checker's slow. Maybe he's not slow. Maybe he doesn't have the right tools because we don't give it to him. So these are things we're aware of.
And that's why a lot of people say, why you don't attack the LA? I don't need to attack the LA.
It's not about attacking.
I know. It's like, I know what's the problem, and I try to make you understand what is the situation is going on. And believe me, 64 a couple of years ago was the same problem. The lines were long and everybody was frustrated. And if you follow the page, you will see pictures where say, I just don't want to go to 64. We have, you know, different comments about that because that's a transition, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
One last question, if you have one.
Yes. Mr. Salazar asks, why does the reefer department take an hour per truck to dismount and a 30-minute break between trucks?
A 30-minute break between each truck? Is that what he's asking? That definitely should not be happening. We're going to have to look into that. There's certain break times that are, you know, agreed upon between management and the ILA. We're going to review the reefer roadability process, so I think there's a lot of good takeaways we can get from that, and we have to look into it. And if somebody's experiencing that, they can surely reach out to me, and I'll get in touch with the proper people to have that investigated. I don't believe it takes a half hour between each truck because there's a break. There definitely is not a break, but if there is some extra wait time, we have to identify why first, and then how we can fix it. So feel free to contact me. Like I said, Giovanni Antonuccio. You can call me at 908-558-6292. You can email me at giovanni.antonuccio, ANTONUCCIO, at apmterminals.com. Or you can just call the general number, 908-558-6000, and ask for me, and you can be forwarded to me. I welcome every truck driver to talk to me. I'll talk to anybody. I'm sure many of you out there have spoken to me on the phone. I know your dispatchers definitely have, but you have too. And I appreciate those phone calls. I appreciate the call from the driver.
And it is what we want to do. We want to encourage you to have more interaction with management. Management is the only kind of persons that have the power to change things that are running bad in any terminal.
And I'll admit it, sometimes we don't know what you're facing. Sometimes there's a little thing we can fix that we don't know is happening. We'll fix it. You know what we did? If you look at outbound, we used to have the express roadability booths. All we did was move it over a little bit more so the trucks can go around easier. That helps the flow. There's a lot of little things we can do. Move stop signs, move yard blocks. There's a lot of stuff we can do.
So you see, if you have any suggestion or anything at all.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a very straight up person. Anybody who's watching this who knows me, I hope you can vouch for me. I want real feedback. I want to know bad and I want to know good. And I think that's a testament for all of the management team at APM, whether it's here in Elizabeth or at our headquarters in Charlotte, North Carolina. We really want your feedback because without it, we might miss something. If you want to call me up and curse me out and say things like that, I'll listen to you, but you're probably not going to get the response you want from me. So I just encourage that you do take us seriously. You do use the outlets for communication. You sign up for the e-alerts. You contact our management staff when you're on terminal. Anybody on that terminal with a radio can call management. And if you can't get somebody, you call 908-558-6000 and you ask for a supervisor. Tell them your location. They'll send the security. They'll send the supervisor, and we'll help you. I have one plug, if you don't mind, because this is something that bothers me.
No, you.
At APM terminals, if you ever pick up a box that has tunnel rail damage, does everybody know what a tunnel rail is? It's
I know, but you want to.
where the container sits on the gooseneck of your chassis. If that rail is ever damaged, do not void out. We will fix that for you while you wait. We are not like other terminals. We will fix it for you. So if the RTG puts a box on your chassis and it doesn't sit, call a supervisor. We'll send somebody to you. We'll make you lock every pin that you can, and we'll give you a safety escort to 219. At 219, we'll fix the tunnel rail. You'll lock it on your chassis, and we'll also give you your inspection, so you don't have to go in the roadability line. There's TIR mechanics there who will provide the inspection to you after they fix it, and you can go right to the outgate. So there's a lot of things there. If you're ever in doubt, do not void out.
You see, guys?
Contact somebody at the terminal, because if we are going to void you out, we'll sign your ticket. So you can tell your dispatcher, hey, Adam Di Pasquale from the yard at APM voided me out. And he's going to say flatbed required or damaged container. But if you just leave, what is that going to do? Your dispatcher is going to email the customer. The customer is going to email the steamship line. The steamship is going to email me. And then it's already a day and a half and nobody knows what happened. Do not void out of APMT for something when you have a problem with the box.
You see, guys? These are the things that we didn't know. I hope you learned something. I know there's many more questions out there.
Give me a hard question. If you want, give me the question where somebody said something probably bad, and I would love to.
Go ahead. He's telling you. What's the chance?
Nothing?
No.
Well, I appreciate their respect.
That's something that we encourage our people to make sure they do questions with respect, because we're trying to show that we're professionals, regardless of what people say. We are professionals.
Believe me, I tried to drive one of those things one time, and I can't do it.
It's not that easy.
I'm going to be honest with you, though, and I want you to know this, and this is, hopefully it's very clear. We value the trucking community. We don't care if you're an owner-operator, a company driver. We rely on you. Why do we rely on you? You remove containers from our terminal. You bring containers to our terminal. We need your support. The very least we can do is show you the same respect and the same same support. If you ever get mistreated at the terminal, let management know. Let us know where it happened, what it happened with, what machine, what supervisor might have mistreated you. Anybody. Everybody's an employee, a mechanic, a checker, a longshoreman, a supervisor. We all work for the same company. Let us know what's going on. A lot of the times it's miscommunication. It's not really an argument. It's just somebody doesn't know, and somebody doesn't know how to answer you. And right away they think they don't want to help. The ILA will help you. Management will help you. Security will help you. Let us know when you have an issue.
And I hope we break tonight the ice that we have, that we are afraid to talk to security management because they won't help you. I hope tonight is the beginning of a new era in APM terminal. It's the beginning of a new look at how they're going to be treating us. He's telling you right here, and didn't mention that. He was, in his own words, say we are very valuable for them, because we are. Anybody they are using transportation, understand without trucks is no transportation.
That's right.
And this is why we have the show. And I just want to say one end statement. Do you want to say anything else for your closing statement?
No, my closing statement. I really appreciate this opportunity. This was something that I actually looked forward to. And when you reached out to me via email, that's why I immediately responded to you, yes, because we want to really start getting this out there. We want to show that we want to collaborate, and we want to make the Port of New York, New Jersey a better place. We know we live in a very densely populated area where property is very expensive and there's not too much of it. So with the little property we all have, we want to make sure we're operating safely and efficiently. So this is a great opportunity, and I hope we can do this on a regular basis.
I hope that too.
At the very least, get involved with meetings. I'm going to add your email address to all of our communications, so you can share it with your followers. And congratulations! I heard it's over 15,000.
Yeah, sometimes we go up to 18,000.
That's wonderful. And I know if you go on YouTube and you hit 1 million, they're going to give you a special plaque.
I hope so. We need some help.
But we do appreciate it, and we encourage you to keep this communication going. We will be there, and we hope you will be too.
Okay, and by that saying, all I want to add is this. Guys, many people question what is the association, what is the purpose of the association, and it's very hard to tell you all the things that we're trying to do here. My personal goal as a member or organizer of this organization is I want you to understand what's happening with the industry so you can be prepared, so you can be aware of the changes that can actually make you a better driver, that can make your life go easy while you're driving. It's not going to be an easy change because we haven't had this before. This is the first, we're breaking the ice of communication through these ways of Facebook and hopefully all the other mean ways that we're going to try to put out there to help each other understand all the changes that are happening here. In my behalf, all I can say is thank you for you, watching us in all this long hour. I know you guys going to be tomorrow watching, adding, and talking. I hope you talk about all the good things. Don't talk about the bad things. Bad things everybody knows. Start talking about the good things. Talk about the Mr. Giovanni saying that he has a number that you can call in case you have a complaint.
I'll meet with any truck driver. If you want to come to my office, I mean, if you just show up, I might be in a meeting or I might not be there, so don't do that. Get in contact with me. Let's set up an appointment. I'd love to meet you. I'd love to hear what you have going on and show you around.
So you see, you're not alone anymore. So if you think you're alone, you run. You are not alone. Management wants to help you. The people from the ILA are willing to help you. And hopefully in the future, we'll have some people from the ILA to come in here and tell us their input and how they're working to address some of these impossible issues that they face daily with us. I don't want to say nothing else, Mr. Giovanni. Appreciate it. I told you 1 hour goes fast and you didn't believe me.
Yeah, I believe it.
It's good.
Thank you.
Hopefully you can come back. This is your home. We are really close to you, so let's see if we can accommodate some of these meetings in a couple months from now. And for you, all of you guys, Ms. Anita, thank you for being here. Thank you for helping us with the questions. Our camerographer, Mr. Lara, thank you. And everybody, I just want to say one thing. My daughter's birthday is tonight, so I just want to say to my daughter, happy birthday.
Very
Good
nice.
night, guys.
Thank you.
Good night.